LVI Ambassadors. So I figured instead of trying to type out what happened yesterday that I would do a video and talk about it because it's a little easier and then I don't have to worry about trying to condense it all. So I was at the supermarket in town with my two kids. I live in a really little rural area, so it's like a local supermarket, really small. We were online. There was a woman in front of us and a man in front of her. And while I'm putting our stuff up on the belt, I had heard the man, who's two people in front of us, have a conversation with the cashier, and the cashier had said that he couldn't buy whatever the potato salad he was trying to buy with an EBT card. Now, I don't know if they call it the same thing in other parts of the country or the world, but here an EBT card is food stamps. And food stamps can be used for packaged food, but you can't use it on stuff that's already been prepared. So anything that's been cooked or deli salads and stuff are exempt from using food stamps. So I had seen, I didn't see everything that he had bought, but as it turns out, he was buying 3 things of potato salad, and that was all he was buying. So I heard the cashier tell him that his EBT card wouldn't work for that, and so he had said, oh, okay, never mind then, I'm not going to get them. So I didn't even think about it. I asked the lady in front of me, I said, excuse me, and I walked over, I just slid my card and said, don't worry about it. And he's like, wow, thank you so much. And meanwhile, while I'm loading up the belt, I'm arguing with my kids because they're fighting over who gets to put the apple juice up, and I'm tired and I'm aggravated. But I walked over, I slid the card, and I said, hey, you know, random act of kindness for the day, right? I said, I know what it's like to want to eat something and have my heart set on it, and then something happens and you can't, you know, no big deal, you know, I'm glad I can help. So he leaves. The cashier was like, wow. I'm like, you know, to me, that's silly because I not only do that regularly myself, but I've had plenty of people help me out in those same situations. So where we live, it's not that ridiculous to see people help you out with a few bucks. And I think the total was like $10 or something, which luckily for me is not a huge amount of money. You know, I'm not rolling in dough, but you know, we are very fortunate. So, the reason I made this video was not to be like, hey, look at this good thing I did, but it had this impact that I wasn't expecting. So I, you know, swiped my card, everything, and I went back to loading up our stuff. The woman in front of me had checked out and she left. So while they're ringing up my stuff, the woman who had been right in front of me had walked back and she tapped me on the shoulder, and I looked at her and she's like, thank you so much for opening my eyes. And I smiled at her. I had no idea what to say, and then she left. And so again, like, it just shows, like, it was not a big deal. It didn't seem like a big deal to me or even to him. Like, okay, great, somebody helped me. Because as I said, we kind of, at least in my perspective of where I live, it's not that unreal, you know, to see people help each other out when they need it. You know, that's what we do, right? But to see, my kids, we were talking about in the car, and my kids are 9 and 6, and they regularly, I've raised them, if we can help somebody, we help them, and so they do that regularly too. So again, it wasn't a really big deal, but the fact that she had come over and said thanks for opening my eyes, you know, explaining that to my kids was pretty interesting because, one, I don't know that she noticed that he was having trouble paying for his food. She wasn't on the phone. She wasn't doing anything. I just don't think she noticed. And then the fact that I had just swiped my card without thinking twice about it and then went back to what I was doing, I think she realized, like, it gave her a different perspective of, you know, what we can do, I guess. I don't know, but I just thought that was really interesting that, like, you know, sometimes we don't realize what else we're doing when we help somebody. In this particular situation, perhaps a simple gesture of paying for potato salad gave this woman a different perspective on what maybe she can do. I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting and definitely something that's not normally seen. I've had plenty of people say, like, oh, that's so nice you did that, and, you know, okay. But for somebody to like leave this store and come back and say thanks for opening my eyes really caused me to reflect on this particular situation more than I normally would. And I don't know, I just thought I would share that with you, that like maybe other people see what we do more than we ever realize they do. And you know, maybe we're changing the world even more than we realize by just simple acts of kindness. Yeah, so I figured I'd share that with you guys. Thanks, and see you guys soon.